This was really the definition of chaotic. I know everyone uses chaotic now because it's cool, but this is a chaotic bookshelf tour. Hope you enjoyed! Hi! Hello! Welcome back. I'm Louisa and this is my philosophy student bookshelf. And now that I'm a graduate, I need to leave it behind. This is my university room and this is a really awkward corner of the room to film because it is situated between two large windows, so it's dark and there's no space, and it's not a particularly, you know, aesthetic bookshelf. I have moved all of the books from the different corners of my room to here, like concentrated here, but usually some of these are just hidden away because I don't like to see them. I am moving out of this university room and that's why I'm doing a video that I never thought I would do, because I have no idea how not to do a boring bookshelf tour. I have no idea how to make it interesting. In about 2 months, I need to be out of here and I want to move to a new city, and it's a country that I've also never lived in before, and they speak a language that I don't speak, and I speak 4 languages, so that's a bit sad. And also the fact that I don't have a job. I'm airing all of my dirty laundry on the internet. Hopefully this is relatable in some way. The point is that I cannot take these books with me, all of them. I don't know what to do. I am, in general, I am lost at sea. I don't know if you can tell. The whole graduating thing is going great. So I am going to kind of show you my bookshelf and also see if I can decide which books I should keep, somehow store, which books I should pack with me in my suitcase on my summer break that I will go and see my family and everything, and then which books I should just give away, sell. I'm not throwing away any books. Okay, I don't know what to say now. Yeah. I didn't realize they were that many when they were on the shelves, and now I don't know what I'm gonna do. And also, obviously I cannot talk about every single book here or we're gonna be here forever, and I do have a problem with rambling. Verbosity is a skill I am highly qualified in. I have my small pile of French books here. Edouard Louis, En finir avec Eddie Bellegueule. I don't know anything about this book except that I want to read it. My little stack of French books follows me around wherever I go to remind me that I have wasted my knowledge of French and to guilt trip me into reading them. And for many years it hasn't worked. Hopefully it will work in the future. You can tell for how many years this hasn't worked by the fact that I am carrying around a book that was given to me by my French teacher in elementary school. It's The Princess Diaries, you know, the one with Anne Hathaway and everything, but translated in French. Then I have this tiny book on the history of Cuba. These are so cute, and they have them in French bookshops, and they have one for each country, and they're just like basically really condensed histories. And then I have a huge French classic, Stendhal, The Charterhouse of Parma. This is my friend's copy and he gave it to me because I would read it. He has left it here for, I don't know, maybe almost a year now, maybe more, I don't remember. Still haven't read it. Okay, the French ones I'm keeping. Maybe not the children's book. Maybe the children's book can be read by my children that I won't have. And this way, books I keep, that way, books I don't need in the near future. This is from the Oxford Very Short Introductions, and I have read a few of these. I mean, I do like series of tiny books on themes because they're really enticing. Some of them are better than others. This one is on the topic of love. I don't know what it is about, but I think I need to read it soon, so I'm keeping it. Henry Miller, The World of Sex. I know I said I was obsessed with tiny books, but I have changed my opinion. Some of these do annoy me because I feel like they take these works that are much better when they are read in their entirety, and I don't see the point of them. Other times, this looks too enticing to not read soon, so I'm gonna keep it. I think I carry this around with me to get like a tiny little sentence of Nietzsche here and there if I need it, because obviously it's tiny and I love him. Oh, but these I find stupid. Like, it's like £1 and you're like, yay, £1, so enticing, but actually they are pointless. And then I have this used copy of As You Like It by Shakespeare, which I haven't read, and I've also had it for a while. I haven't read Shakespeare in a few years, so I'm also gonna keep it. Another tiny book is this really tiny Greek-German dictionary, and this is really cute. This was a gift, so it has sentimental value, but also I will need it because my German is, like I said, terrible. And I love how vintage this is because it still has the price tag that was in Deutschmarks, the currency that Germany had before the euro. This I'm taking with me. So poetry, also a tiny stack. So Wendy Cope, Anecdotal Evidence, is the first book of poetry I ever bought for myself, and it was an Aunt Carly suggestion, and I liked it and I read it super quickly. This is some classic Greek poetry. Oh yeah, I have to mention, I am from Greece originally, so I have taken some books from home because obviously you can't easily find Greek books in England. These are some old copies. Wait. These are actually not works of poetry. Obviously, I thought I was bringing poetry with me, but I actually picked two of his works that are not poetry. This is a novel, and this is I think this is like a novella. I think these either I will read like now or have them with me later. I don't need them this summer. So this is a tiny book. It's called Things Are What You Make of Them, Life Advice for Creatives. It's not that great life advice actually, but it has a really cool look. So it's one of the books that I keep to use for collages. Case in point, some of the pink pages there are from it. I'm obsessed with creating collages on walls. I've been doing it for many years now. I think I will do it wherever I will move as well. So I'm keeping it for then. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed to own this book, but I fell into the trap. I went through a Parisian style phase a few years ago. I showed this to my French friend Pauline and she was laughing, but like laughing. So that's all I need to say about this book. I'm too embarrassed to even give this away, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Maybe I will collage it. This is the Hygge book, but in Greek. It's actually pretty cute and cozy, and if you read it in winter it makes you feel better. I will definitely need it because German winters are in desperate need of coziness. Okay, this is Alexa Chung's It, but I didn't buy it and I will not throw it away because I use it for collages. I have used it on that wall as well, and I found it half chopped off, and I will cut out more of them until there's nothing left. You can tell I'm not gonna give anything away. This I bought at a sale and I got it for £3, and I got it specifically to make collages, and I made that collage over there. Keep this for the future. This is my only cookbook that I own at the moment. Deliciously Ella's Quick and Easy. I used it for a very short amount of time. I wouldn't recommend it. The recipes that I've made were all so heavy. The first Deliciously Ella book I think is better. Not my vibe anyway, but because I don't have many cookbooks, I might as well keep it. Let's move on to just general non-fiction. Like I said, I have not been reading a lot of that. I think studying philosophy really made me want to escape into stories and exciting things because philosophy is quite dense. Like, you really want that escape into just storytelling and characters and exciting things or emotions. Yeah, so these books, most of them I have not read yet. This is Eric Hobsbaum, The Age of Extremes. A really fat history book, but this guy is really famous historian. Mostly I think he's known as a Marxist historian. The story of Eric Hobsbaum and how he was basically spied on for most of his life is actually really funny and exciting, and there's an LRB article on it and I would highly recommend reading it. This is First World War to collapse of the Soviet Union. 7 years before I was born! Woo! I'm not gonna read it this summer. My last months of my degree were a real burnout in every aspect of my life. And I think my intellectual burnout is not over yet, so I don't think I'm gonna read this before September. Afropean I have partially read because it caught me in a weird phase, but it's excellent. It's kind of like a travel memoir, but it traces Black history in Europe. So I think this one I'm taking in my suitcase. Okay, we're doing great. We have gotten rid of 0 books so far. Empireland, How Imperialism Has Shaped Modern Britain. Timely read now that I'm leaving Britain. Bye bitch bye. Yay for another video where the light changes every 2 minutes. I don't get why my battery is dying. Seriously, I charged this camera an hour ago. This isn't normal, but what can I do? I think this same applies to this. I'm not ready to read history yet, so Greek history, about Greece from the 18th to the 21st to this century. I haven't read it yet. It has great reviews. I really want to read it. I've been thinking a lot about Greek history lately. I don't know why. I might read this summer actually. I'm gonna keep this. Okay, Outliers, The Story of Success, Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah, I'm keeping it anyway. I also thrifted this. I'm really proud of it actually. Okay, this is a fat biography. Claire Tomalin is English biographer, a really acclaimed one. I've read her memoir. It was not a good memoir, but she's not known for being a memoirist, so that's fine. So this book I also thrifted because I knew of it, and as soon as I saw it for like £2 in Oxfam, I was like, you coming with me? But I'm not gonna read it now. I am sorry. This is The Life of Samuel Pepys. More of my non-fiction pile, but this is more of like the more politicized books. The two feminist ones I'm not gonna discuss again because I've talked about them in my feminism video. These three, but in my feminism video you can learn all about them. This is Noam Chomsky that I haven't read yet. That is, I bought this I don't even know how many years ago. It's quite addictive to read actually, so I think I'm keeping this. I think I will be in the mood for a bit of Chomsky this summer. This is a Bible. This is a book everyone who's alive in this century should read. I could talk for hours about this book, and I can't explain to you how important it is to know that we have... I mean, there are two huge issues that I have with the world today. One of which is the death of our planet and the people suffering as a result of it, which is mainly poor nations and nations in the global south. And then surveillance capitalism, which is the form of capitalism that makes the most money right now. And I mean, this is a term coined by Shoshana Zuboff, but I think it's great. And it's all about how we basically help huge companies make money by giving away our data, whether we want to or not. And we don't really have a choice. I mean, we do have a choice, but we don't do anything about it. And this is only going to get more intense, the mining of personal data for money. In every part of our lives. And obviously that also results in less and less privacy. And it's a really complicated topic that I could talk about for hours because it stresses me out but also pisses me off. And I cannot talk about it now, but this is a Bible and everyone should read it, and that's all I have to say on the matter right now. Oh, no, I have a bit more nonfiction back here. So we have A Monk's Guide to Happiness, Meditation of the 21st Century. I've talked about this in another video, but it's a great book to get you interested in meditation and get started on meditation. But I refuse to carry it around, telling myself I will be rereading it when I'm not rereading it. So it's coming with me at a later date. This is by Oprah Winfrey about lessons in life, and it was gifted to me and I read it, but I don't think I'm gonna reread it, although I don't like giving away books that were given to me as gifts. Because even if I'm not fond of a book, it reminds me of a phase or of the person who gave it to me, so maybe I should keep it because of that. This goes in the maybe pile. Woo! We have a first, and this is gonna be a second because I read this and I don't think I will read it again. It's kind of like a collection of The Economist explainer articles about random things you would like to know, which country's citizens are best at managing their money, or how machine learning works, or how life on Earth began probably. Yeah, it's fun. Some of these are interesting, but I've read it, I won't reread it, and I think all of this information is available on the internet. So that goes. Woo! 2 books. Okay, that's a good unhaul. Classics I haven't yet read, want to read, but won't read anytime soon, so they can come with me later. Death Comes for the Archbishop by Willa Cather, highly recommended by John Green. Edgar Allan Poe's The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. Got it at a Christmas book swap of a Philosophy and Literature Society meeting on campus, and haven't read it yet. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Peter Pan, and The Great Gatsby copy number 2 that I own are all from the Taylor Swift video, and I won't reread them anytime soon. Ernest Hemingway, The Old Man and the Sea. This is tiny, so I could carry it with me theoretically, but why should I? Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. It was great for my Taylor Swift reading challenge, and it's a much better reading experience if you don't know what the end is, and I did because of Jack Edwards spoiling it in his video, so thanks Jack. Frankenstein, a great classic, and one I am going to reread at some point. And a classic that I'm not gonna reread anytime soon or ever. It made me suffer. I wasted months of my life reading it. But if you are gonna read it, I would recommend just reading a few pages each day, like 10-12 pages, and do it like as a long read. And I think you're gonna enjoy it more than if you just, I don't know, I feel like this is an overrated one. I don't want to make these statements. I am going to keep it because I am collecting these editions and because I have notes and because I made it through. But yeah, more classics. Brecht, Mother Courage and Her Children. Really appreciate Brecht, and I haven't read this one yet, so I will. Oh, I also love that this is a fully annotated copy that I found it for free. So I am keeping this for this summer. I might be in the mood to read a play. Whose Names Are Unknown is a book that I got from Life's Library. Oh, so this was going to be published because it was an exceptionally fine book. But when The Grapes of Wrath swept the nation, the publisher explained that the market could not support 2 books on the same topic. So it remained unknown and unpublished. So I think I'm gonna keep this because it's also written by a woman and it is a novel, and I do want to read the book that should have been published when The Grapes of Wrath was also published. So Greek classic. I don't think I will be in the mood to read this one anytime soon. Mrs. Dalloway, the book that I've started 3 or 4 times, read half of it, just wasn't in the right mood for it, and I don't like to read books when I'm not in the mood for them, especially great ones, because I know I will not make the most out of them. So maybe now is my Virginia Woolf era. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a 4th try. Greek classic that I've read, didn't love it. Also very much toxic male energy. It's getting darker and rainier and I don't know what to do, but the whole dark gray aesthetic wasn't how this video started, so I'm really not sure. But anyway, this is what we have, so it's what we're gonna work with. Beowulf, I took an English module at some point a few years ago and I've read it. Out of Africa, like one of the books that I remember buying ages ago and haven't read yet, and I don't think I'm gonna read it. I'm even debating giving this one away. I'm such a memoir reader, and I mean, Karen Blixen has lived a really interesting life, and she's also celebrated for her fiction, which her stories, her fairy tales, which I have read some of them in school. She wrote under the pseudonym Isaac Dinesen because it's a man's world. It was a man's world, certainly. But I think posterity remembers her for Out of Africa, and I don't know, not in the mood right now. This is another book that I bought because it was a Waterstones sale. Nothing about this book said anything to me. The author, the title. And now that I'm currently reading Lou Salome and the people she met, she actually socialized with this guy because he is celebrated in his home country, which is Norway. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1920. I want to read more classics or very acclaimed books from countries that we don't usually hear about here in the book community, and they're basically from countries that are not England and America, and I'm actually not English or American, so I don't know why I don't do this more often. So this one I'm actually keeping for the vibes now. Oh my god, this is already not a suitcase pile. Like, how is this a suitcase pile? I don't know. I think I've talked enough about Their Eyes Were Watching God in this channel. I don't need to expand. And Tales of the Jazz Age by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Also something I found for free. I don't know if I'm gonna be in a Fitzgerald mood. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna read it this summer. Yeah, that was all the classics I have here. That's weird. Oh my god, this is scary. Maybe I should go with my memoirs. This is this huge pile here that is dangerously close to dying. I'm a ravenous memoir consumer. I don't know why. If it's a memoir, I will read it. It's weird. So, reading Lolita in Tehran by Azar Nafizi. Excellent, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 5. I talked about it in my recent video, so you should watch that if you want more information. Crying in H Mart, I just finished it. For me, it wasn't as life-changing as I've heard other people say, but no doubt a heartbreaking book, and one that is a lot about Korean cuisine. If you want to read a book that is a memoir but talks a lot about Korean food, you should read this. The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls is a memoir I haven't read that I thrifted. It's about childhood trauma, which we love to read. So I think this one I'm keeping for now. Birds, A Year of Observation, Birds Art Life by Keo McClear. Oh my god, it's so beautiful inside. I think this I'm gonna read soon, so this I'm keeping. This I just bought. I've talked about this in my bookish blabbering nonsense video thing, and it's the book that I've been looking to find. It's Between Two Kingdoms by Suleika Jawad, and it's a memoir that I see here. It has blurbs from very famous people. Anyway, I am going to read it ASAP, as in literally one of these days. Without You There Is No Us by Suki Kim, Undercover Among the Sons of North Korea's Elite. Yeah, this sounds a bit depressing. This was also from Life's Library. You can tell how many Life's Library. When I read all of them, I think I will do like a review or a ranking of all of the books that I've read from Life's Library and which ones I like the most. If you're interested, let me know. But I've been avoiding this because I feel like it's gonna be depressing and I'm not in the mood to read something about how fucked up the world is. But there's only so much I can read in one summer and this is already too much. I don't know. Bluets by Maggie Nelson, mentioned in my blue books. I Feel Bad About My Neck. Other Thoughts on Being a Woman by Nora Ephron is kind of a memoir, but mostly just stories from her life, and I actually reread it recently and I thought it was funny, but I think I'm gonna give it to my friend who for some reason remembers a particular thing that I told her about this book, and she might find it funny too. And I reread it, so I'm not gonna reread it anytime soon. So this actually goes on the giveaway pile. Woo! 3! Okay, we're doing great. I know. Primo Levi, Survival in Auschwitz. Talked about this in my blue books. Very difficult read, very important. Not gonna reread it anytime soon. Joan Didion, Blue Nights. I'm actually in such a Joan Didion mood, but not to reread Blue Nights. This turned out to be the last Joan Didion book. When I filmed the video, she hadn't died yet. These 3 were all in the blue books video, and I highly recommend all of the books in that video, but especially these 2 were some of my favorites from that video, so yeah. Okay, Alexander Chee, How to Write an Autobiographical Novel. Excellent book that I would not have read if it weren't for Life's Library. Why Be Happy When You Could Be Normal by Jeanette Winterson. This is so good. I want to read more Jeanette Winterson. I need to have a sip of tea, but I'm worried the camera battery will die again, so that's like extortion. I Am by Maggie O'Farrell. Another book from my blue books video. Oh my god. I don't really reread that often, but this I have reread I think 3 times. And I really want to reread it again. I don't know what... They're not short stories, but each chapter is independent, if that makes sense. So it's so easy to reread, but I think the only books I've reread so far are books that are in this format. Kim Gordon, Girl in a Band. I'm definitely not gonna reread this one, but I am gonna keep it. It's not a great memoir, but if you are into the no wave / new wave / post-punk / punk, like in those kinds of genres, you're into them, she does name drop a lot of people, and it's interesting for that reason. Okay, that was all the memoirs. No, I can see one. I see the David Lynch book. I can already say I'm not taking this with me right now, but I am keeping it. Oh my god, okay, let's move to miscellaneous / books about books pile. For the Love of Books, A Companion is pretty cute, and not the most life-changing book about books, but it has a lot of interesting facts about authors and stuff like that. The Elements of Style, illustrated. I'm gonna read this really soon, so it's staying with me. David Lodge, The Art of Fiction, I got for free, but this kind of belongs in the books about writing category, which I really like as well. Bibliophile, Diverse Spines. These books are so beautiful. They're the books illustrated by Jane Mount, and this one is co-written with Jamise Harper. and I had the bibliophile, the first version. They're gorgeous, and this one is exclusively focused on Black, Indigenous, people of color authors, I would say. It also has more of a queer emphasis, and I haven't read all of it, but these are kinds of books that are addictive and you kind of dip in and out. 100 Books to Read and Reread by Michiko Kakutani, successful book critic, and here she basically gives 100 plus books that she really loves and why you should read them and reread them. But I think she spoils them, so that's why I haven't really read this, because a lot of these I haven't read yet. So Biographic Kahlo is just an illustrated book about Frida Kahlo. Pretty silly book, I would say. It doesn't really give you any amazing information. Went through a phase where I was obsessed with her. I think this one I could give away. This is another ridiculous book. This is Laundry, the Home Comforts book of caring for clothes and linens. It's an entire book on how to properly do laundry, and this is proof that I have issues, serious issues. When I first moved to university, I was convinced that I needed to know everything that there was to know about laundry to properly take care of my clothes. 350-page book on how to do laundry, and I don't know what to do with this. I haven't touched it since I bought it in 2016. Will I ever? Probably not, but do I want to give it away? No. So this comes with me at a later date. Not gonna read it this summer. And then this book serves as my laptop stand on my desk so that my neck will hurt less, but I think this should end eventually because first of all, poor book, and secondly, it doesn't work. This is amazing. I really like it. This has 1001 photographs you must see before you die. Okay, that was all of my really miscellaneous books, art-related books. I have just 4. So we have the short story of architecture that I haven't read, but I am keen to read right now, so I'm keeping it. And I bought it because I had bought and read the short story of art, and I really liked it. And I bought this because I had read the short story of film, which I found in Berlin one time, and since then I am obsessed with this series because it's so good. It's sometimes with these you don't actually get the point, like they just throw random facts at you or a lot of text, no images, but this has the perfect balance. This one you will actually get the idea of a short history of mostly Western art, but I would highly recommend it. Read this if you want to take great photographs, which I bought years ago, and I read it and it was fun. That was when I first got my first and only DSLR. I was super keen to learn how to use it, and this one's like really a fun way to just get the basics of digital photography. Then this one is a book I have borrowed from my friend Alex, and I still haven't read it even though I think I borrowed it years and years ago. But it's all about screenwriting, and is highly relevant to me because I would like to enter the industry, so maybe I should read this sooner rather than later. My tea is getting cold. Let's do contemporary literature. Queenie by Candace Carty-Williams, mentioned in my feminist video. Great, just read it. Amazing. The History of Love by Nicole Krauss. Really excited to read it. The Sellout by Paul Beatty. Found for free and so excited because I have heard nothing but amazing things about Paul Beatty. Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan. I will run to the bookshop the moment the new Nisha Dolan book is out. I know this might be illegal to say, but I like her more than Sally Rooney. Sorry. Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. Also, someone I want to read more from. Mohsin Hamid, How to Get Filthy Rich in Rising Asia. 2 books I've read by this guy. I've loved both of them. I would highly recommend them. So I'm also looking forward to reading more books by him. Fame is a book by Daniel Kehlmann, a really successful contemporary German author. It's supposed to be a novel, but it's really disjointed. I liked it. I would be curious to read more Daniel Kehlmann. It's a very male author who thinks he's really important and intellectual, but also thinks he's making fun of it, of the whole concept. But he isn't actually. He does take himself very seriously, even though he thinks he can pretend he isn't. Don't get how this book has been so publicized, so praised. I'm not a fan, and I wouldn't go near it So I'm not giving it away because it is a gift copy and the story behind it is fun, but I hate the book, just to be clear. Writers and Lovers by Lily King. This I read, and see, this is an example of a book I read, didn't love, but like it was fine. I don't really get the appeal of it, but I respect it. I think Carly was reading it in her most recent video and she said it was really good. I kind of have the urge to reread it because I so badly want to see what is so appealing about it. You know, it confuses me, even though I shouldn't, because not everything appeals to everyone, and usually it's not the huge classics that this happens with, it's contemporary novels. So I should just probably accept it, but I do have the urge, and I'm not going to give in, but I do have the urge to reread it just because I didn't like it, which is weird. Anyway, so 5th book that we're unhauling. Woo! Okay, My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante is a book that I also thrifted. I feel like I'm missing out on the Elena Ferrante business, so this comes with me now. Last 2 ones on the contemporary fiction pile. Persepolis, a memoir. Why is this in the fiction pile? This is a memoir. Highly recommend. Read it this year, actually. Norwegian Wood. I've talked about this in the Reading Booktube Classics book video. Okay. I have grouped middle grade, YA, and fantasy here because I don't really have many of those books. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I know nothing about this except that I am going to read it because it was chosen by Life's Library. Will Join Me Later category. And then Rosewater, which is book number 1 in a series, so I'm definitely not going to start it anytime soon. Then I'm very excited because this is going to be one that I will unhaul. Yay! This is Pet by Akwaki Emezi. I bought it because everyone on BookTube that had reviewed it was so excited about it, and I love the concept, I love the idea. Maybe it's just not for me. It is middle grade. I was really bored reading this and I think it's a great idea, so I will give this away. Okay. This is a Greek middle grade novel that is one of the first books that I remember reading in my life, you know, other than fairy tales read to me when I was young, and it was my favorite, and I read it and reread it so many times in elementary school, and I reread it this year and it brought back so many thoughts and memories, and it kind of made me think about what it was that appealed to me as a young person, because why was it this book that I kept rereading? And of course I'm not letting this book go. We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This got me out of a reading slump. It was perfect for the moment I read it and I really enjoyed it. Love it, keep it, but not gonna reread it. And then An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Han Green. I didn't know it was gonna be a series. I think everyone was blindsided by that, reaching the end of the book. But I really liked and appreciated a lot of aspects about this, even though it was both YA and science fiction, so totally not my thing. Okay, so the 2 remaining categories that we haven't sorted through yet, sorted through, the sorting isn't that successful, but we have grammar books and philosophy. I will start with the grammar books and dictionaries simply because I think the battery will die soon. This is my pile of shame. It reminds me of all the languages that I either attempted to learn and didn't successfully learn, or the languages that I'm not practicing enough and so wasting my existing knowledge. Ugh. This is a Russian English-Russian dictionary I stole from my house when I was attempting to learn Russian in 2016. The phase lasted a few months. Didn't learn Russian. It's not my copy to get rid of. My Spanish Collins Grammar, Verbs and Vocabulary. I would say I do recommend these. Attempted to learn Spanish, did a year of it at university in 2017, and I don't speak Spanish. So that's all I have to say about that. French grammar that I found for free, and I thought I should keep it in case I decide to polish, dust off my French. I don't see it happening. This is another French grammar book. German grammar book and German grammar practice book. I haven't used these. I've been learning German this year. As I said, I would like to move to Germany, and my German is not there yet. It's terrible, actually. I think I need to practice speaking more often. So if you speak German and you want to practice with oh my god, my life is such a mess. I'm gonna put these down here because I need to use them these days while I'm still in England. B2, C2 grammar in French, but I haven't used the book. It's all empty. And then my Italian grammar book. This is for children, or anyway for young people, but I've never learned Italian in a formal setting. I don't have good knowledge of it, grammar-wise. So I should maybe give it a second look. So the only thing that's left as a category is my philosophy books. And I've advertised this as a philosophy student bookshelf, so I think it's only fair to delve into the philosophy books. Okay. Also, some of these are extracurricular philosophy books that I have and either brought here because I thought I would read them but I didn't, or they are gifts. So if you would be interested in a video about everything I've read during my degree, or maybe like my modules, something like that, let me know. Okay, I'm gonna start with the big guns, okay? Bear in mind that I don't know what I'm talking about because I am not a professional philosopher. I have an undergraduate degree that's pending because I haven't graduated yet, and that's it. So I am nothing. The first thing that I would like to show is Kant's Critique of Pure Reason. I don't have the capacity, the mental or the psychological one, to explain anything about this, but I just want to say about all of these big books, there is something really exciting there. And even if the language is so inaccessible, it is such a rewarding experience to understand even tiny parts of it. And there was this module that was purely on this book, and obviously we didn't cover all of it, and obviously I didn't understand half of it, but it was so rewarding to understand the parts that I did understand, and I would highly recommend anyone who's interested in philosophy to try. To pick something, it doesn't have to be Kant's Critique of Pure Reason. Any of these like canonical works, I think they are worth delving into with some guidance. I personally do like Hegel.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have been converted.
But I'm obviously not reading this for the summer. I don't know if I ever will. Okay, before Kant, there was Locke, Berkeley. I call him Berkeley, but my professor called him Barclay. I don't know why. There was Locke, Berkeley, and Hume. So Locke is much more accessible than Kant, but I'm not a big fan of him actually. This is an essay concerning human understanding. I think it's Locke's most famous work. But I have Hume here, A Treatise of Human Nature. I think of all the three guys that I've mentioned, Hume is the one that is read more than the other two by a larger amount of readers. His thoughts are of general interest, but this is also considered one of the most significant works in Western philosophy. I mean, he doesn't look that likable, but he published it before he was 30 years old. And then we move on to the guys that I like more. The Germans. I have an affinity for the Germans, and those guys weren't German. I mean, Kant was. I have nothing against Kant. But we have George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. I have the Phenomenology of Spirit, which came before, and then we have the Philosophy of Right, which is probably more widely read. And I actually own another copy of the Philosophy of Right, but it's back home, and it's edited by the professor that taught the module, and he is a rock star. He's the best. I was converted into a Hegel fan, and that's not easy to do because the way Hegel writes is just a headache, and you have to look past the writing and focus on the ideas if you want to enjoy it. And I don't think I would have been able to if I didn't have this amazing guidance. Now, right after Hegel came this guy who was heavily inspired by Hegel, and he wouldn't have been able to write any of his innovative works on politics and economics if it wasn't for Hegel. And that is our friend Karl Marx, also German. This is a reader, so it has a lot of selected writings. It's by David McClellan, who is a really celebrated name in Marx scholarship. And then I have this book, which is Marx Engels reader, and this is the one book that I have not returned to my friend Theodora, who lent it to me because I lost it for a period of time, but it wasn't my fault. I had left it in my living room, and then I looked for it so extensively, and it's weird because it's a huge red book. Like, how easily can you lose it? I found it last year when I did this whole project where I took every single book in my house and created a house library and organized everything by category. It took me 5 days. The whole project was, oh my god. And it's available to be returned to its owner. But this is, I think, just a smaller version of this, and it also has angles in it. My philosophical love. And you're gonna wonder if it's my philosophical love, why do I just have one book here? It's because my other books are at home. But I have a big reader, and it's the Nietzsche reader. This gorgeous man right here with this beautiful mustache is by far my biggest philosophical crush. I have a photo of him there right next to my desk on the wall because I like to look at him. It brings me solace to know that his writings exist because they're really soothing to the soul. I would highly recommend Nietzsche to anyone interested in reading philosophy. Beautiful writing, a bit cryptic, but beautiful. I think Nietzsche is a great starting point for philosophy, first of all because he's great, and secondly because he's more accessible language-wise. Then we have a French dude, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau is actually another guy that I've read a good amount from, but this I haven't read in its entirety. I've read a small bit. I didn't like it that much because this is his view on education and it's very specific. Another guy that I'm a huge fan of, another French guy, I am separating these people into nationalities for whatever reason. I'm realizing this now, but I didn't do it on purpose. This is the tiniest Sartre that I own and the only one that I have with me right now because I have not done any Sartre at university in a while. Sketch for a Theory of the Emotions, and it is Sartre's view on the emotions and on love. It's definitely not one of his more known works. Okay, that concludes the ones that I read for university. Then we have some Foucault. It's a really embarrassing thing to admit, but as a philosophy student, I should have read Foucault and I haven't, except for tiny excerpts. These two books are extracurricularly acquired. This is the other book that I got at the book swap and I love it. I'm really excited to read it. It's called Society Must Be Defended, a devastating critique of the systems of power and control inherent in civilization. Foucault reveals how war is the foundation of all power relations. That's basically Foucault's thing, identifying structures of power, systems of power, and how power forms everything. I'm gonna put this in my summer reading pile. I said I want to detox from philosophy, but Foucault is really enticing. It's this guy. Look at this gorgeous man. This is the lectures he gave on biopolitics, and I'm really interested in Foucault's, I went through a phase where like biopolitics was a thing I was really interested in, and when I say really interested in, I mean in an absolutely superficial way, like I didn't in any way actually go into reading, because again, this always happens when you study something. You get interested in these really specific subtopics, but you don't have the time or space to explore them because you have a lot of uni work. And then by the time you have free time, you have moved on to a new interest. And that's why I brought this back here with me, because I thought maybe I will have the time. I didn't, and I don't know if I will this summer because it's also in Greek, and believe it or not, it's much harder for me to read philosophy in Greek than it is to read philosophy in English, because I have always studied it in English, and in Greek my brain doesn't compute what I read, and that's probably sad, but there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, Barthes. Barthes is a French philosopher, thinker, cultural theorist, one would say also semiologist. Is that a word? He dedicated this book to Jean-Paul Sartre. And this is his book on photography. And I might be in the mood to read it again this summer. So I'm gonna put it here. We've moved to Slovenia. Žižek. So Žižek is still alive and well. First guy that is alive here. And this is definitely not, I don't think this is one of his most known books. I mean, he's a philosopher, he's a cultural theorist, he is a lot of things. This is more in the film studies cultural theory field, this particular book, and I have to say that I started reading it and I didn't understand what it was about. And then I didn't have time because essays. So I don't know what to tell you about this. I can say he uses films, classic films, to make larger cultural observations, and criticisms. I wouldn't say start with this one if you're interested in Zizek. Also, he's very prolific, so there's a lot of material. There's a lot of videos of him as well. Very memeable. And I'm not gonna read it this summer, definitely. I forgot our big French guy here. Montaigne! Michel de Montaigne. Michel is a very interesting case. This is his complete works. So you buy one book and you're done. It's all of it. He wrote a lot of essays. He also wrote some letters. He wrote in the 16th century. I wrote an essay on him recently, so I read a lot of him in May. But you know, I think you either love him or hate him, and I don't know if I love him. I'm gonna put him on the keep, but stay away from me for a while pile. My wrist hurts from lifting these books clumsily.
Because I'm nothing if not clumsy.
Oh my god. 3 books left and we're done and the battery's dying. Let's see if we can do it. Okay. St. Augustine's Confessions. I did a module in ancient political thought in ages ago, 2017. Oh my god, that was ages ago. I can't believe that was 5 years ago. I was doing a different degree at a different university, and we read parts of it, and then I saw we had a copy in Italian in my house, and I thought, sure, alongside my degree I will have time to read it, and I brought it here from home, which was a really smart move because I haven't read half a page of this. Yeah, it's not like I'm not in the mood, but I am not in the mood. I don't think this is happening anytime soon. I forgot about this. This was gifted to me by my wonderful older sister. It's How to Live a Life of Montaigne in 1 question and 20 attempts at an answer. And I still haven't read it. And that's embarrassing because my sister has read parts of it and she really likes it. That's why she sent it to me, and it was such an amazing thing. I honestly am so touched when someone reads a book and they think I'm gonna love it and gifts it to me. I will keep this in my summer pile. I am so sorry that I haven't read it yet. It's not for lack of interest or appreciation. It's because I get really stressed with university work that I then avoid philosophy in my free time. It doesn't make sense, but I think now that I'm graduating, this will be over and that's gonna be fun. Okay, last one. We're going back to Germany. It is Freud talking about Leonardo da Vinci and childhood. I read a bit of it when I was waiting at my therapist's waiting area. He had it there. Of course he did. And I was like, oh my god, this is so interesting. And I have read a huge biography on Leonardo da Vinci and I loved reading about him. And I have read Interpreting Dreams by Freud and it was a hard read. So I think this will be much more readable in comparison. And there you have it! Oh my god, we did it! Oh my god, and it's so dark now. We did it! Oh my god, this is all of my books. Oh my god. This was a full tour of my university bookshelf and some of my philosophy books. I am sorry for doing such a bad job at summarizing them and also for taking this long. I cannot believe that I only managed to get rid of 6 books. I haven't counted them, but I will do that and I will put the number here on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my camera for dying 3 times and now it's probably gonna die a 4th time. So I'm gonna say bye before that happens. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you soon. Don't forget to leave your suggestions and opinions in the comments.